A friend of mine just hit one of those big milestone birthdays, and she told me her goal for the next chapter of her life was simple: less anxiety, more adventure. And I think we can all relate to that, right? But what if I told you that the path to more adventure isn't about running away from anxiety? What if the adventure you're actually looking for is hidden inside the very feeling you're trying to escape? Way back in the 1840s, the philosopher Soren Kierkegaard wrote about this exact kind of adventure. He called it like the most important thing in life. But here's the twist. He wasn't talking about climbing a mountain or sailing around the world. No. He was talking about something way more universal and, for a lot of us, way more terrifying. Because, let's be honest, for most of us, anxiety feels like the polar opposite of an adventure. It feels like a scourge, right? It's a problem we need to solve or medicate or just get rid of completely. It feels like a bug in our system, not a feature. And just so we're all on the same page, let's get clear on what we're talking about. Anxiety isn't just being scared or stressed. It's this really specific combination. It's a fear that doesn't have a clear focus. And it gets amplified by these looping negative thoughts, worries, that show up in our bodies as actual physical stress. And this is not some small, niche problem. In the US alone, anxiety disorders affect over 40 million adults. I mean, just let that sink in. That is a staggering number, and it really points to a huge challenge in our modern world. Now, what's really alarming when you look at this chart isn't just the numbers, it's the trend. We're seeing rates of diagnosed anxiety disorders just skyrocket, especially among young people. And while there's no single cause, a lot of researchers point to the rise of social media as a key factor that's just supercharging this whole thing. Okay, so if anxiety is this widespread, growing, modern-day problem, how on earth could a philosopher from the 19th century possibly see it as an adventure? Well, this is where things get really, really interesting. And here it is, the big reveal. The adventure Kierkegaard was talking about was anxiety itself. Yeah. He wasn't telling us to go find some adventure to escape our anxiety. He was saying that learning to understand and actually use our anxiety, that is the adventure. It's like the treasure map is pointing directly into the dragon's lair. So that creates a paradox, doesn't it? We know that chronic anxiety has real physical costs. I mean, it's linked to everything from autoimmune issues to a higher risk of a heart attack. So how can something so potentially destructive also be a source of growth and opportunity? Well, the answer is that it has two faces. On one hand, anxiety is actually a brilliant evolutionary tool. It's our built-in alarm system, designed to keep us safe from threats. But on the other hand, if that alarm gets way too sensitive, kind of like a smoke detector that goes off every single time you make toast, it becomes a chronic problem that seriously hurts your quality of life. But here's the wild part. Even within that discomfort, there are some surprising upsides. Research actually shows that when it's managed, anxiety can make us more empathetic and more self-aware. A little bit of it is even a key ingredient for triggering flow, that amazing state where you're totally absorbed in what you're doing. And going through really stressful life events, while terrible at the time, often leads to this profound, transformative growth later on. Okay, so we've got the philosophy down, the what, but we also need the how. So let's get practical. Let's build an actual guide for turning this cool idea into a real-life strategy. This is the big question, right? This is what you're probably asking yourself right now. How do we take that familiar knot in our stomach, that feeling of dread, and actually transform it into the thrill of an exciting opportunity? Turns out it's a two-step process. First, you have to accept it. Seriously, studies show that trying to suppress anxiety just makes it worse. So instead, you just acknowledge it. Say, okay, this is my brain's alarm system going off. Got it. The second step, you reframe it. That out-of-the-ordinary feeling isn't a warning of impending doom. It's just evidence that you're facing an exciting challenge. I absolutely love this quote from the psychiatrist Dr. Kevin Majerus. He defines anxiety as adrenaline with a negative frame. Just think about that for a second. The physical feeling is basically the same. It's the story we tell ourselves about that feeling that makes it either terrifying or exciting. So your goal isn't to get rid of the adrenaline, it's just to change the frame. So here's what that looks like in practice. When you feel that anxiety creeping in about, say, a conflict at work or a health worry, try this. Instead of letting the dread take over, just tell yourself, this is exciting. This is an opportunity to engage, to solve this, to make a new plan. You're basically hijacking that energy for a productive purpose.
So, what does this new relationship with anxiety actually feel like? Is it some magical cure? Does everything suddenly just feel great? Let's be real about this.
This is the exact question my friend asked me after I laid all this out for her. She said, okay, but if I do all this, does that mean I won't mind my anxiety anymore? It's the perfect question, right? It's hopeful, but it's also a little skeptical.
And the honest answer is no. You probably still won't like it. Because what Kierkegaard really understood deep down is that anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. It's an unavoidable feeling that comes with having choices, with facing big challenges, with pushing your own boundaries. It is the physiological cost of being fully 100% engaged with your life. And that right there is the ultimate takeaway. The goal isn't to make anxiety feel good. It's to see it as the price of admission for a life of meaning and engagement. It's not supposed to feel good. It's just supposed to be worth it. And shifting your perspective to that, well, that might be the greatest adventure of all.